Hello, if you are looking to start digital drawing but don't know which program to choose, I've got you covered. I have tested and compiled the best free programs in one video. My name is Daria and I'm a student at the Faculty of Arts working in both traditional and digital techniques. Today I'll show you the 5 best free PC programs that will help you figure out if digital art is right for you. No subscriptions, no complicated settings, just download and start drawing on the tablet. And at the end, I'll talk about a program I initially underestimated, but it really surprised me. I'll be drawing 5 portraits of my original character, whom you may have seen in my illustrations, in different styles. I think this way both the drawing process and the viewing experience will be more fun and engaging. So let's get started. First up is the well-known Krita. I know artists who use it for digital painting because it's relatively easy to navigate and the functionality is quite extensive. However, there are some drawbacks. For example, if you like the liquify tool, you might run into some trouble. Krita handles it very slowly, to the point where I just wanted to close the program and go make tea. Later, I found out that other free programs don't even have an alternative tool. Now let's move on to the advantages. Plenty of default brushes suitable for most tasks. I mainly used the top row of brushes and frequently relied on basic 6 details. It was great for small details, especially on eyes, nose and lips. And the triple pencil for blending. This brush has an interesting texture and mixes colors well. It was great for final touches. Bristles Large Smooth was another good brush and it was perfect for finalizing hair details. It mimics traditional oil paints bristles. Unlike other programs, Krita suggests richer shades based on your current selection. It was interesting for me. Krita saved my work after an unexpected laptop crash. It was very nice. Krita has flexible layer management. You can group, lock, paint within a layer's bounds, duplicate and adjust visibility. Everything I love for my usual painting workflow, nothing unnecessary. There is pen pressure support. There is canvas flipping. If you haven't used this feature before, start today. It's humbling at first since it exposes all your mistakes, but over time you learn to spot and fix errors faster. I didn't use filters or image adjustments for this video, but Krita does offer contrast, brightness, saturation settings and more. And background blurring. Go to filter and choose blur. I'll let you judge the results of each program yourself. I think these stickers, let's call them that, provide enough insight into each software. Next, I'll draw a superized version of Melissa. Overall, the program is decent, but I encountered a few unexpected annoyances. For instance, brush strokes were choppy and my sketch looked very rough. Later, I realized I simply needed to adjust my pen's connection settings in Windows. And before I could even start drawing, 4 windows appeared, distracting me. I mean, why not consolidate all this info into a single window? It really messes with concentration. I didn't like that. However, the program has quite a few advantages. The first one is fast startup, unlike Krita, which has a loading screen. The second one is intuitive layer management. The third is user-friendly interface similar to Photoshop, which I use. Relaxing first brush is great for rendering and feels universal. Canvas flipping. Go to Edit and choose Flip horizontally. Image adjustments, saturations, levels, curves, similar to Krita. Watercolor brush is my favorite. Responds well to pressure, gives soft edges, and it's great for blending. At the end of recording, I was quite happy with my painting. You know, it was my first time drawing such an exaggerated cartoon-style expression. Now let's take a look at FireAlpaca. The first thing I noticed, a very limited brush selection. I mostly used marker and the thick oil brush, occasionally softening edges with pen brush. At first, pen pressure didn't work at all, and I had to dig through settings to fix it. If this happens to you, go to File, click on Select Pen Pressure API, and choose Touch PC and Pen Tablet, even if you are using something different. Don't ask me why this works, but despite the program's simplicity, FireAlpaca has its own advantages. For example, simple interface. It's very similar to Paint Toolsai. It's very easy to learn. The second one is smooth sketching experience. My cursor followed my strokes very fluidly. Good layer management, duplicate layers, adjust visibility, rearrange layers easily. Canvas flipping. I think this is the cutest illustration I have made so far. And of course, I had to add a cat. I might even use this piece as my new profile picture for a while, I think. Things weren't so simple with IbisPaint. The biggest issue? The free version limits your work session to just 1 hour. That's ridiculous. I had to stretch this portrait over several days. Also, the color palette and layers are hidden while working. I wish they'd just stay visible. And for some reason, the eyedropper tool kept activating randomly, interrupting my workflow. Thankfully, I can turn it off in settings by unchecking Quick Eyedropper, but the program still has its advantages. Smooth brush work captures pen pressure and movements perfectly. I genuinely enjoyed how responsive it felt. Best brush variety of all 5 programs. I especially love the watercolor brushes. Patent watercolor opaque for thick painterly shadows and transparent watercolor water for blending and soft gradients. Built-in tutorials make learning the program easy and reduce the adjustment period. Hair detailing brushes, hair and hair shine added a cool comic-like effect. You can see how it works at the end of the speedpaint. Eastern Ornament Shanshui brush creates soft textures and elegant transitions. Color sliders came in handy for final adjustments. At first I thought they were unnecessary, but I eventually found them useful for fine-tuning shades. To be honest, this illustration is my favorite of the 5 because it's very expressive. Thanks to the brush strokes, it feels especially dynamic. Oh, this was a hidden gem. At first glance, based on screenshots and its unimaginative name, I assumed it was just another Windows Paint clone. This portrait would be close to realistic painting. However, the program turned out to be not the most convenient for such ambitious tasks as realistic painting. Just kidding. The interface wasn't immediately clear, and since the brush doesn't recognize pen pressure, the work was much slower. Additionally, large brushes and the eraser sometimes took a long time to load. Also, when switching between layers, a loading screen appeared, which could be annoying when recording a speedpaint. But if you get used to it, MyPaint can pleasantly surprise you. Brushes imitate traditional materials. If you get used to working here, the program's potential is huge. Just dedicate a bit more time to learning it than I did. For instance, the round brush, the simplest one, leaves visible strokes. It's not always convenient, but it creates a textured effect. It's perfect for those who like to see the brush work and avoid too much smoothing. Another main brush I used was round BL. It works like a hard airbrush, useful for applying large, semi-transparent color patches. For outlines, I tried calligraphy and marker, both look interesting. I wanted to try something really unusual, and I used the Impressionism brush on the hair. Your painting will consist of many points that are close in tone but different in color. For dividing the hair into strands, I liked the knife effect. It works like smearing paint, similar to the finger tool in Photoshop. There is a blur tool. You can find it as a separate blue brush. Your painting will have a canvas texture underneath. Textured backgrounds are an acquired taste, but during my work I like this approach. I was surprised to find that it has layer support. You can rearrange layers, duplicate them, and merge them. It's lovely that an invisible layer has a closed eye icon. For hotkeys, there are hints at the bottom. It's very convenient for someone who's just started using the program and isn't familiar with the shortcuts yet. Very cute. It's better to master one program thoroughly than to spread yourself thin across several. The more you explore its capabilities, the more you'll gain in terms of expressiveness and ease of work. As for my personal experience, I joined work in FireAlpaca and IbisPaint the most, especially the brushes from IbisPaint. I'd gladly add them to my permanent collection. What program will you choose? Maybe you already have a favorite and I didn't mention it. By the way, an interesting fact, it took me the same amount of time to create all 5 stickers with my character regardless of the program. All my experiments showed that the main limitation in digital painting is our own willingness to learn. Free programs do exist and you can try them. Now you know where to start, and when you fall head over heels in love with digital painting, I recommend trying professional programs. Like my favorite, Photoshop, for example. At first it may seem complicated, but believe me, no other software is more user-friendly than Photoshop. Each of my drawings today in different programs did you like the most? Let me know this in comments. This was my first long video. I would be happy if you support me and share it. If you are interested in my creative process or want to see more exclusive illustrations and materials, check out my Patreon. There I share not only the results but also step-by-step processes. All the links are in the description. Thank you for your support and see you in the next videos.